I died choking on my own blood in a rain-slicked alley behind a dive bar in Brooklyn. My brother's hands still warm around my throat from the accident. He'd staged to look like a mugging gone wrong. The last thing I saw was his face, twisted not in remorse, but in smug relief, as he whispered, "You were always the failure."
Harmony.
Now stay that way. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my 25-year-old body 3 years before that night, with the metallic tang of future betrayal already burning my tongue. Waking up in my cramped Stories studio apartment, the kind of place where the walls sweated in summer and the radiator clanged like a bad hangover. I bolted upright, gasping like I'd just surfaced from drowning. The clock on my nightstand blinked 7:14 a.m. October 15th, 2018, exactly 3 years before the alley. My hands flew to my neck, smooth and unmarked, no bruises blooming like ugly violets under my skin. I stumbled to the mirror, staring at the reflection of a woman who looked too young, too unbroken, dark curls tangled from sleep, hazel eyes wide with a ghost of terror. "Holy shit," I whispered, my voice cracking. It wasn't a dream. The memories crashed over me like a subway train, every slight, every betrayal, culminating in that final, gurgling betrayal by the one person who'd sworn to have my back. I sank onto the edge of my unmade bed, the thin mattress sagging under me, and let the floodgates open. In my first life, or whatever the hell you call the one that ended in a gutter, I'd been Harmony Reyes, the black sheep of a family that prized perfection like it was the last Birkin bag on earth. My parents, Victor and Elena Reyes, were the epitome of upwardly mobile Latino-American success. Dad, a cutthroat real estate developer who'd clawed his way from the Bronx to a penthouse in Midtown. Mom, a corporate lawyer who'd traded her immigrant roots for power suits and a Rolodex full of senators. They had 2 kids, me, the artsy dropout who'd majored in creative writing at NYU only to bail after 2 semesters because poetry doesn't pay the bills, and my brother, Javier, the golden boy.
Javi.
With his Wharton MBA, his corner office at Dad's firm, and that effortless charm that made everyone forget he was a snake in khakis. It started small, the way these things do in families like ours. I'd scrape by on freelance gigs, ghostwriting self-help books for influencers who couldn't spell manifest without autocorrect, while Javi climbed the ladder, flashing his Rolex like it was a family heirloom. Mom would coo over his promotions at Sunday dinners in their Tribeca brownstone, her diamond tennis bracelet glinting as she passed him the empanadas. See? Harmony? That's what focus looks like. Dad would grunt agreement, his eyes flicking to me like I was a smudge on his Armani tie. I laughed it off at first, played the role of the quirky sister who brought levity to their sterile world. But by 25, the cracks showed. I'd landed a decent gig editing for a mid-tier publisher, pulling in enough to cover my rent and the occasional craft cocktail at a Williamsburg bar. That's when the real poison seeped in. It was Thanksgiving 2018, God. I could still smell the turkey and resentment in the air when they dropped the bomb. We'd gathered in the brownstone, the table groaning under crystal stemware and Mom's catered spread from some overpriced Upper East Side spot. Javi was there, fresh off closing a deal that netted Dad's firm 7 figures. His fiancée, some wasp-eye blonde named Brooke, clinging to his arm like a status symbol. I showed up in thrift store jeans and a sweater I'd knit myself, my latest short story submission burning a hole in my laptop bag. Conversation flowed like the Pinot Noir, Javi's wedding plans, Brooke's trust fund, Dad's latest yacht club membership. Then Mom leaned in, her voice syrupy with that fake empathy she reserved for charity cases. Harmony,
Mia.
we've been talking. Javier's stepping up, taking on more at the firm.
He's earned a
Boost. I remember sipping my wine, waiting for the punchline. Dad cleared his throat, sliding an envelope across the table like it was a business card. Inside, a check for $100,000, made out to Javier Reyes. Seed money, he said, eyes on his plate. For the down payment on that co-op in Soho. He's building a future. My stomach twisted. Not from jealousy, at least. Not then, but from the math. I'd overheard them months ago, whispering about liquidating some investments for the kids. The kids. Plural. I'd clawed my way through community college night classes after dropping out, paid my own damn way with blood and ramen. And this was their verdict. Javi gets the golden parachute. I get a pat on the head. What about me? The words slipped out, sharper than I intended. The table went quiet, forks hovering midair. Brooke tittered nervously. Mom's smile faltered. Harmony,
you're
independent. You don't need us hovering. Dad, fix me with that stare. The one that said I'd already lost. You've made your choices.
Kiddo.
Partying through college. Chasing dreams that don't pay. Javier's different. He's proven himself. Proven. Like I was on trial and found guilty by default. Javi reached for my hand, his grip too tight, eyes gleaming with that false sympathy. Sis, it's not personal. Come on, don't make a scene. I yanked away, heat flooding my face. Not personal? That's my inheritance too. You assholes. We're supposed to be family. Mom gasped, hand to her pearls. Language. Harmony. We're just investing in success. Success. The word hung there. A guillotine. I stood, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard, and walked out into the crisp November night, the door slamming behind me like a full stop. That was it. No calls, no texts, radio silence. I blocked them all, dove deeper into my work, surrounded myself with barflies and beta readers who at least pretended to get me. Javi tried once. A slurred voicemail at 2 a.m. You're being dramatic. Harm. Families sticks together. Yeah.
Right.
Little did I know how far he'd go to make sure I stayed the outsider. Fast forward through the blur of that next year, gigs drying up as the publishing world tightened its belt. Me crashing on friends' couches when rent spiked. Nursing cheap beers at the Rusty Nail in Bushwick. That's where I met Lena, fiery redhead with a tattoo sleeve and a laugh that cut through the din. She was a junior associate at a boutique law firm, specializing in white-collar defense, and she saw right through my armor. You look like someone who swallowed a lemon orchard, she'd said our first night, sliding me a shot of tequila.
We clicked. Hard.
Late nights debating Foucault over diner fries. Her hand in mine under the table. For the first time, I felt seen, not as the failure, but as Harmony, the writer with fire in her veins. But Javi, he slithered back in when I was at my lowest. I'd ignored his texts for months, but desperation has a way of cracking resolve. My bank account was a red flag parade, eviction notice taped to my door like a scarlet letter. He showed up at the bar one rainy Tuesday, all pressed chinos and concern. Heard you're struggling. Let me help.
Help.
The word tasted like ash even then. He wired me $5,000 that night. No strings.
Sis.
Just until you get on your feet. I took it, hating myself. Used it to buy time for a new manuscript. What I didn't know, what the old me learned too late, was that no strings meant surveillance. Javi had always been the planner, the one who mapped every move like a chessboard. Turns out, that money came with a tracker app buried in the transfer confirmation. And he'd been feeding intel to Dad's PI buddies, painting me as the addict spiraling out of control. The setup unfolded like a bad noir flick. Lena proposed over dim sum in Chinatown, her eyes sparkling like the ring she'd saved 6 months for, a simple gold band etched with "Rewrite the Stars." I said yes, tears blurring the lanterns overhead. We planned a quiet courthouse wedding. Nothing fancy, just us and a witness from the bar. But Javi caught wind, God knows how, and crashed the party. Not literally, at first. A call to Mom. Harmony's shacking up with some dyke lawyer. This is embarrassing the family. Cue the intervention. Mom and Dad storming my latest sublet in Greenpoint. Bibles and therapists in tow. It's a phase, Mom sobbed. We can fix this.
Fix.
Like I was a leaky faucet. I told them to fuck off. Locked the door. But the damage was done. Lena got anonymous emails, screenshots of me partying, doctored to show lines of coke that were actually powdered sugar from a photo shoot prop. Her firm's partners got wind. Whispers of distraction and ethics breach. She fought it, but the stress cracked us. Our last fight, her pacing the kitchenette, voice raw. I love you, Harm, but this family's poison. They're ruining us. I promised I'd cut deeper. Go nuclear. But Javi was steps ahead. He cornered her at a firm happy hour. All charm and veiled threats. Think about your career. Harmony's not worth tanking it. She didn't tell me not then. Instead, she pulled away. Gentle at first, then ghosted. The note she left, I can't breathe in this shadow. Forgive me. Heart shattered. I drowned it at the rusty nail. That's where he found me, Javi. Tie loosened. Checking in. Lena's smart. Sis. She knows when to fold. I swung at him. Wild and whiskey-fueled. But he dodged. Laughing low. Always the hothead. The alley came next, him dragging me out back for air, his hands clamping my throat when I lunged again. You think you're the victim? You're the joke. The failure who couldn't even keep a girl. Black spots. Rain mixing with blood. His face the last anchor in the storm. And now, back in 2018. Pre-Thanksgiving. Pre-check. Pre-everything. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, a group text from Mom. Dinner at 6. Don't be late. Love you.
Love.
The word curdled. I deleted it, fingers trembling. This time, I wouldn't play nice. I'd unearth their secrets. The ones I'd glimpsed in death's haze. Dad's off-books deals with shady developers. Skimming millions from immigrant tenants. Javi's role in covering it up. Forging docs that ruined lives like ours once were. The $100,000? Dirty money. Laundered through family investments. They'd framed me as the screw-up to deflect from their empire of lies. Revenge wasn't just payback, it was demolition. I dressed in my best fuck you armor, black jeans, leather jacket, boots that clicked like warning shots, and headed out. First stop, the public library in Queens, where old me had stashed a USB drive of pilfered firm files from a freelance stint. Buried in code. The evidence waited. Emails. Ledgers. Proof of the Reyes Realty slush fund. I plugged it in, heart pounding as the screen lit up. There it was, Javi's signature on falsified evictions, displacing families for luxury condos. Mom's legal memos greenlighting the fraud. My hands itched for a match. But subtlety first. I couldn't torch it all day one.
No.
This was a slow burn. I fired off an email to my old editor, pitching a tell-all on corporate greed, anonymous.
For now.
Then, a burner account on Reddit. AITA style. AITA for cutting off my parents after they gave my brother $100,000 and called me a failure? The responses flooded in. A chorus of validation that fueled the fire. By noon, I was at a coffee shop, sketching outlines, expose the fraud,
Seduce the allies.
isolate the snakes. Lena's sweet. Broken Lena wouldn't slip away this time. I'd find her sooner. Shield her. Evening crept in, the city humming with oblivious energy. I stood outside the brownstone, rain starting to spit from the gray sky. The bell chimed inside. Mom's voice muffled through the intercom. Harmony? That you? I pressed the button. Voice steady as steel.
Yeah. Ma.
Let's talk, turkey. The door swung open, and there was Mom, all Chanel tweed and forced smile. Her earrings, pearls from Grandma's estate. The ones she'd forgotten to mention in the will division, swaying like pendulums of guilt.
Mia.
Come in. You're soaked. I stepped inside, dripping defiance onto the Persian rug, the scent of roasting garlic and simmering adobo hitting me like a nostalgia bomb laced with cyanide. Dad was in the living room, nursing a scotch. Fox News droning about some Wall Street scandal that paled next to their own. Javi lounged on the leather sectional, scrolling his phone. Brooke not yet arrived, small mercies. Dinner's almost ready, Mom chirped, bustling toward the kitchen. I followed, cornering her by the island where paella bubbled on the Viking range. Mom, we need to talk about the money. Her spoon froze mid-stir, eyes widening like I'd uttered a curse. What money?
Oh. That.
It's not set in stone. Bullshit. In the old timeline, the envelope was already signed. I leaned in, voice low. The $100,000 for Javi. My share too, right? Or is this another investment in success? She flushed, glancing toward the living room. Harmony. Not now. Family time.
Family time.
The phrase that masked every fracture. We migrated to the dining room, crystal clinking as Dad poured wine. Javi looked up, all boyish grin. Hey,
Sis.
long time no see. 3 days. Asshole. But in my head,
It was eternity.
yeah, I said, sliding into my seat. Feels like forever. Small talk flowed. Javi's latest deal. A high-rise in Hell's Kitchen, Dad's golf trip to Pebble Beach, Mom's book club pick. Some drivel about resilient women. I nodded,
Smiled.
but my mind raced circuits, the USB in my pocket, burning like contraband. Then, the hook. As Mom served the paella, golden rice studded with shrimp and chorizo, a recipe from abuelas that she'd bastardized with saffron from Dean and DeLuca, I dropped it casual as a napkin. Speaking of resilience, I stumbled on some old firm files. Interesting stuff about those Bronx evictions last year. Dad's fork paused, midway to his mouth. Javi's eyes flicked to mine, sharp as a switchblade. Files? What files? I shrugged, spearing a muscle. You know, the ones where tenants got booted for code violations that weren't on the books. Funny how the condos popped up right after. Silence, thick as fog off the East River. Mom tittered nervously. Harmony, that's business. Complicated. Dad set his glass down. Too carefully. Where'd you hear that crap? I met his gaze. Unflinching. Not here.
Read.
Signatures and all. Javi laughed. But it was brittle. You're imagining things.
Harm.
Too many late nights with your stories. The dig landed. Meant to belittle. But I parried. Stories?
Nah.
This is nonfiction.
Gold.
Actually. Could make a hell of a expose. Brooke arrived then. All apologies and air kisses. Diffusing the bomb. But the fuse was lit. Over dessert, Flan wobbling like Javi's composure, I watched them. Dad's jaw clenched when he thought I wasn't looking. Mom's eyes darted like minnows. Javi texted under the table. Probably to his fixer. I excused myself early.
Claiming a deadline.
Outside. The rain had thickened to a downpour. Mirroring the storm I'd unleashed. Uber back to Astoria. I pulled out the laptop, diving deeper into the files. There, emails from Javi to a shell company, routing funds from evicted families' deposits into offshore accounts. Mom's sign-off on the LLCs. The $100,000? Chump change from the slush fund they dubbed Family Future Fund. My future? Collateral damage. Sleep evaded me that night. Ghosts whispering contingencies. By dawn. Plan crystallized. Step 1. Fortify my position. I emailed Lena, found her profile on LinkedIn. Junior associate at Hargrove and Stein. Her headshot all red waves and determination.
Hey.
Saw your post on publishing law. Freelancer here. Got questions on IP for a project. Coffee? Neutral. Professional. Her reply pinged back fast. Sure. Thursday. Lupane quotidian in Flatiron?
Yes.
In the old life. We'd met by chance at that very spot. Bonding over burnt croissants. This time, I'd steer the ship. Step 2. The slow poison for the family. I started small, an anonymous tip to the Village Voice. Teasing corruption in luxury development. No names. Just enough to itch. Then, a visit to the bodega in the Bronx where one evicted family had run a soul food spot. Mrs. Ortiz, wide hips and warmer hugs, recognized me from the old timeline's failed apology tour. Harmony?
Dios mío.
You grew. I slipped her a card. If you ever want to talk about the old shop. Her eyes lit. Story spilling, how Javi's inspector had cited phantom mold, how the payout vanished into fees. Word spread like wildfire in dry grass. By week's end, my Reddit post had 5K upvotes. Strangers demanding their own tales of parental favoritism. 1. My sis got the house. I got tough love. And see forever. Validation. A bomb. But the real high came Friday night. Post-coffee with Lena. She was even better in person, freckles dusting her nose. Laugh like wind chimes in a gale. We talked contracts, but veered to dreams, her pro bono dreams for tenants' rights. My half-formed novel on fractured families. Sounds raw, she said, stirring her latte. You pulling from life? I hesitated. Then, too much. But rewriting the ending. Our knees brushed under the table. Electricity sparking. No kiss, not yet. Build it right. Javi called, Saturday morning.
Voice oily.
Dinner tomorrow? Mom's worried.
Worried.
About the leak. More like. I agreed.
Sweet as pie. Sunday.
The brownstone again. Tension thicker than the coke Ovin Mom had attempted. Burn edges. Undercooked spite. Brooke chattered about wedding registries, but eyes were on me. After plates cleared, Dad pulled me aside in his study. Walls lined with first editions he never read. What's this about files? Harmony? You stirring shit.
Direct.
I smiled. Slow. Just curious.
Dad.
Legacy and all. He leaned in. Scotch breath hot. Legacies for winners. Don't fuck yours up. I left with a hug for Mom, stiff as cardboard, and a wink for Javi. That night, I met Mrs. Ortiz's niece, a reporter at The Intercept. Over tacos in Mott Haven, she scribbled notes, dates, amounts, Javi's email trail. This could blow wide open, she said, eyes gleaming. I nodded. Anonymous source supreme.
Meanwhile,
Lena and I texted into the wee hours, memes about bad bosses. A shared Spotify playlist titled Rebel Anthems. The backlash hit midweek. Mom's email. We need to talk. This isn't you. Attached. A therapy referral. Dr. Feel good from the Upper East Side. I forwarded it to Lena. Laughing emoji chain. But Javi escalated. He showed at my door unannounced. Rain-slicked and seething. What the hell? Harm? Those leaks? It's you. Isn't it? I blocked the threshold. Arms crossed. Prove it. His face twisted. The mask slipping. You're jealous. Always have been. The money. Lena, yeah. I know about her. Mom and Dad would die.
D.
The word hung. Ironic. I stepped closer. Voice venom. Jealous? Of a fraud who forges evictions for pocket change? Keep dreaming. Golden boy. He lunged, not violent. Just a grab for my phone, but I sidestepped, door slamming in his face. Heart hammering. I bolted it. Then called Lena. Hey.
Red.
Dinner? My treat. Her voice. Warm. Thought you'd never ask. We met at a hole-in-the-wall Italian in Little Italy. Candlelight flickering on Chianti bottles. Over carbonara. I came out full tilt. I'm bi. But with you, it's real. She blushed. Fork twirling forgotten.
Ditto.
Scary real. The kiss outside. Rain-kissed and hungry. Sealed it. For the first time, hope wasn't a sucker punch. But revenge brewed darker. The Intercept piece dropped Friday, The Human Cost of Skyline Dreams, naming Reyes Realty. Quoting insiders. Javi's name in bold. Chaos erupted. Dad's voicemails raging. Mom's sobs on hold. I ignored. Holed up with Lena. Plotting our escape. A sublet in Brooklyn. My manuscript gaining traction with an agent who'd bitten on the hook of family noir. Climax loomed.
Though.
Javi texted, meet me. Rusty nail. Tonight. Or the story gets personal. Personal. Lena. I went alone. Steel in my spine. Recorder app running in my pocket. The rusty nail hadn't changed. Neon sign flickering like a dying pulse. The air thick with stale beer and regret-soaked chatter. I pushed through the door at 10 p.m. sharp. The jukebox crooning some Springsteen dirge about working-class ghosts fitting. Since that's what my family pretended to be while stepping on next to climb. Javi was at the corner booth, nursing a IPA. his warden polish cracking under the bar's grime. He looked up, eyes bloodshot. "Tai askew." "Sit." Command.
Not request.
I slid in opposite, ordering a soda, clear head for the kill. "You happy now?" he hissed, leaning forward. "That article? Dad's losing clients left and right. Board's talking audits." I sipped, calm as a lake before the storm. "Audits sound healthy. Clean the rot." His laugh was ugly. Scraped raw. "Rot? We're building empires." "Harm." You're torching it for spite."
Spite.
If only he knew the half, the alley. His thumbs crushing my windpipe. The rain washing away my pleas. "Not spite," I said, voice even. "Justice. For the Ortiz family. The Garcias. All the code violations you signed off on." His face paled. Just a flicker. But I caught it. "Gotcha." He slammed his glass down. Foam sloshing. "You think you're Robin Hood? In a skirt, and with a girlfriend?" The slur landed low. Meant to wound. Old me would have recoiled. But reborn harmony? I leaned in. Smile sharp. Better than a prince in pauper's clothes. Laundering daddy's sins.
Check.
His fist clenched on the table. Knuckles white. "What do you want? Money? The check? Fine. Split it."
Ah.
The offer. In the old life, desperation had made me bite. This time, I savored the bait. Too late for crumbs.
Javi.
I want the truth. All of it.
Truth.
The word hung. And for a beat, his mask shattered. Not remorse, fear. Raw and rodent-like. "You don't know shit." But he spilled anyway, voice dropping to a whisper as the bartender wandered by. It started with Dad's first big flip in the 90s, a tenement in Washington Heights. Tenants, mostly Dominican like us. Whispers of bribes to inspectors.
Javi.
Fresh out of college. Helped with the paperwork, fudged dates, ghosted leases. Mom covered the legal. Her firm twisting tenant laws into pretzels. The slush fund grew. Feeding vacations. The brownstone Reno. Javi's MBA tuition. The $100,000? Just accelerating what you were too lazy to earn. Lazy. The lie that fueled my old unraveling. I pressed. Recorder, whirring silent.
And me?
Why frame me as the junkie? His eyes darted. Sweat beading. You were. Inconvenient. Always questioning. Poking at the books during that internship. Easier to paint you crazy than audit us. Internship. I'd forgotten summer 17. Filing clerk at the firm. Spotting discrepancies in the ledgers. I'd shrugged it off as big business, but Javi had noticed. Started the whispers. Harmonies unreliable. Erratic. By Thanksgiving, I was the punchline. The failure justifying their favoritism. And Lena? The name dropped like acid. He smirked. Recovered. Collateral. Told her firm you'd drag them into your drama. She bailed fast.
Fast.
The ghost of her note twisted in my gut, but I shoved it down. You're a monster.
Javi.
Family? You're cancer. He stood. Looming. Careful.
Sis.
Push too far. And it's not just audits. Accidents happen. Threat veiled as warning. I rose 2 inches from his face. Try it. This time. I see you coming. I left him there. Storming into the night. Rain sheeting down like judgment. Cab to Lena's walk-up in Cobble Hill, our new crash pad. Boxes half unpacked. Her cat eyeing me suspiciously from the windowsill. She answered in sweats. Hair in a messy bun. Concern etching her brow. You okay? Tex said bar meat. I pulled her close, burying my face in her neck, the scent of lavender soap grounding me. Javi. Old wounds. We sank onto the couch, her fingers tracing my knuckles. I spilled, edited version. No deathbed confessions. The fraud. The favoritism. My role as scapegoat. Her eyes blazed. Those bastards. We sue? Pro bono. I got you.
Sue.
Tempting, but too clean. Revenge needed teeth. Controversial. The kind that left scars. Next days blurred. Agent emails gushing over my manuscript outline. Dark. Timely. Think Succession meets The Godfather with Queer Heart. Tips pouring in from more ex-tenants. A class action whisper building. Mom called. Voice quavering. Harmony.
Please. Come home.
We can fix this.
Fix.
I hung up. Blocked the rest. Dad's lawyer sent a cease and desist. Standard bluster. Citing defamation. Lena shredded it over wine. Laughing. Paper tiger. But controversy brewed. My Reddit post evolved into a subreddit, r/Golden Child Syndrome. Mods vetting stories of sibling sabotage. I posted anonymized excerpts from the files. Upvotes skyrocketing. Media sniffing, Pod Save America teasing a segment. Javi counter dirty. Deepfake audio leaked online. My voice confessing to fabricating the leaks for attention. It went viral on conservative Twitter, painting me as the vengeful Lipdert. Comment stung, entitled Millennial Ruining Family for clicks. Lena rallied. Our first real fight. Fight fire with fire. Harm. Go public. I wavered. Controversial decision 1. Expose myself. Risk the blowback. I did. Op-ed in The Guardian. My family's empire built on broken homes, and how I became the fall girl. Byline. Harmony Reyes. It dropped Tuesday. Shares exploding. Protests outside Reyes Realty's Midtown office. Tenants chanting with signs. Not for sale. Dad's stock tanked 15%. Board ousting him in emergency session. Mom texted. How could you? Javi's silence deafened until the call at 3 a.m. You win.
Harm. Meet at the brownstone. Dawn.
Alone. I went. Lena protesting from the doorway. Her kiss a talisman. The brownstone loomed dark. Rain easing to mist. Javi waited in the study. Dad slumped in his armchair. Mom pacing like a caged tiger. No, Brooke, smart girl. Sit, Javi said, echoing the bar. I stood. Talk. Dad spoke first. Voice gravel. We fucked up. The money, take it. Half.
All.
Just stop. Stop. As if words erased evictions. Mom sobbed. We're family.
Mia.
Blood.
Blood.
Mine. Spilled in an alley they'd never mourn. Javi stepped forward. Envelope in hand. The check. Doubled. Truce. His eyes pleaded, but I saw the calculation. Twist incoming. But not yet. I took the envelope. Tore it slow. Confetti raining. Truce? After you choked the life out of me. The room froze. Dad. What? I laughed. Bitter. Figuratively.
For now.
But push. And it's literal.
Bluff.
But it landed. Javi paled. You're bluffing. Am I? Sirens wailed distant. Protesters. Or cops. The AG's office had my files. Courtesy of Lena's connections. Climax crested. Javi lunged for the desk drawer. Gun? Papers. But I was faster. Reborn reflexes kicking in. Tackle. Scuffle. Mom screaming. Dad bellowed. Enough. We broke apart.
Heaving.
It's over, I said. Feds are coming. Resign. Repay. Or rot. They crumbled. Dad drafted the press release that morning. Reyes Realty to dissolve. Assets liquidated for restitution fund. Javi slunk away, whispering, This isn't the end. Mom hugged me, tears soaking my jacket. Real? Maybe. Forgive. I pulled back. Not yet.
Outside.
Dawn breaking gray. Lena waited in her Prius.
Done.
I nodded.
Sliding in.
For now. We drove to Brooklyn. City waking oblivious. My phone buzzed. Agent offer. 6 figures. Lena's hand in mine. Victory. Bittersweet. But twists lurk in the shadows. The weeks post-downfall blurred into a fever dream of vindication and vertigo. Reyes Realty's corpse picked clean by lawyers, mine. Courtesy of Lena's firm. Netting tenants $2.3 million in settlements. Dad retreated to a condo in Florida. Golf and gout his new empire. Mom dove into therapy. Emails shifting from pleas to progress reports. Learning boundaries.
Mia. Proud of you. Proud.
The word once starved me. Now it tasted like pity.
Javi?
Vanished at first. Rumors of a Cayman hideout. Sipping my ties on dirty money. But he resurfaced. Slimmer. Sharper. Demang from a ghost account. Nice play. But you missed the board. Missed. The hook in my gut twisted. My op-ed had canonized me as whistleblower saint. Book deal linked. Title. Failure's Fortune. A Daughter's Reckoning. Podcast invites stacking like cordwood. Lena and I made it official. Courthouse vows in April. Her in a linen suit. Me in the leather jacket from that first reborn morning. Witnesses, Mrs. Ortiz and a barfly from the nail. Toasts with cheap champagne. A honeymoon in the Keys. Lazy days, snorkeling reefs. Nights debating if revenge ever truly ends. You rewrote the stars, she murmured. Tracing my scars, invisible now. But etched deep. Controversy clung like humidity. Feminists hailed me as anti-patriarchy warrior. Conservatives branded me family destroyer. Fox segments dissecting the Reyes betrayal with clips of my ungrateful face. Reddit exploded. R/Golden Child Syndrome hit 50K subs. My AMA drawing 10K comments. You go.
Queen.
To blood's thicker. Hope you rot alone. Lena fielded the hate mail. Her legal brain filing cease and desists like origami. But the decision's nod. Was exposing them worth the shrapnel? Mom's holiday card. And signed by Dad. We miss you. Miss the old harmony. The compliant one. Javi's shadow lengthened summer. Anonymous leaks hit my inbox. Screenshots of my old texts. Edited to show extortion demands pre-whistleblow. Fake. But viral. My agent panicked. PR nightmare. Pull the book?
No.
Controversial call, too. Double down. I went on Joe Rogan, yes. That Rogan, spilling unfiltered. The favoritism. The fraud. Javi's bar threats. He said accidents happen. I said, Bring it. Clips trended. Haters doubling. But sales spiked. Lena worried. He's unhinged now. Unhinged. The word echoed my death throes. He struck in September. Subtle as a stiletto. Lena's firm passed her over for partner. Whispers of distractions. My name invoked in boardrooms. She came home hollow-eyed. Wine glass trembling. It's him. Pulled strings with old Hargrove contacts. Rage boiled. Old and new. I confronted via burner. Back off. Or the Caymans get a tip. His reply. Too late. Check the news. News. Rhea's heiress in embezzlement probe.
Not Dad, me.
IRS audit. Alleging I'd siphoned freelance fees from the firm years back.
Lies.
But seeded with half-truths from my internship days. Reporters swarmed our brownstone. Are now. Sublet upgraded to a co-op with book advance. Flashbulbs popped like gunfire. I shielded Lena. Voice steady for mics. Smear tactics. Truth wins. Inside. Doubt crept. Was this the twist? Javi not just schemer, but puppet master supreme? Digging unearthed it. Buried secret. The one death's haze had veiled. Dad's slush fund started not in the 90s, but '05, my birth year. A hushed payout, not to tenants, but for Mom's procedure. Abortion?
No, me.
Complications in delivery. Experimental meds off books. Funded by first bribes. They'd framed it as miracle baby, but guilt festered. Javi, born perfect, became the fixer the failure from inception, the secret shame. The $100,000? Not favoritism, reparations, twisted into erasure. Javi's final play, expose the medical fraud. Paint me as cursed spawn in tabloids. New York Post, heiress's dark origin. Rhea's baby born from black market drugs?
Slam.
Lena held me through the sobs, raw, ugly. The first since rebirth. Not your fault, but it was my existence. Their poison. Controversial decision 3. Mercy or massacre. I chose gray. Leaked the medical files to Lena's pro bono network. Framing it as healthcare inequity for low-income moms. The Atlantic ran it sympathetic. The cost of hidden care. Javi's counter-narrative crumbled. Feds traced his Cayman wires to money laundering charges. Extradition hit headlines. Golden Sun falls. Climax came Thanksgiving. Ironic echo. I hosted Neutral Ground, our co-op. Turkey from a farm upstate. Guests Mrs. Ortiz and Pod Squad. No family invite. But they showed. Dad frail in khakis. Mom with tentative smile. Javi in cuffs. Flanked by marshals. Surprise plea deal. Facing me before sentencing. Harmony, he croaked. Chains clinking.
I.
Protected us. From the truth.
Truth.
The baby files. His hands saving me in the alley from ruining more. Delusion, but pitiable. I stood, wine in hand. Protected? You choked a sister because she breathed too loud. Mom gasped. Dad looked away. Javi's eyes. Finally broken. Forgive?
No.
But live with it. Marshals let him out. Parents lingered. Apologies tumbling. We were wrong. All of it.
Wrong.
I nodded. Door closing soft. Not truce. Truce implies equals. This was severance. Final. Twist landed gentle. A letter from Javi. Post-sentencing 15 years. White collar wing. You won.
Harm.
But read this. Enclosed. Mom's journal. Scanned pages. Entries from '05. Our miracle.
Despite the risks.
Javier resents, says she's why we fight. But she's light.
Light.
Not failure, light. Javi's jealousy. Born in cribs. Festered unchecked. Tragic. Not excuse.
Ending?
No fairy tale. Book hit NYT list. Lena made partner on 10 class win. We adopted a rescue pup. Named him Reset. Parents? Occasional cards. Boundaries iron.
Bobby.
Letters from Otisville. Therapy scrawled regrets. I write still. Stories of rebirth, not magic, but grit. The alley fades. Replaced by dawn views from our balcony. Lena's hand in mine. Revenge? It hollows. Then fills. I stopped contacting them completely, not out of hate.
But space.
In the end, the real hook, failure wasn't blood deep. It was choice. And I chose again.